Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalayam Na Yahaba Shim Yashaba Shem Hakudash, and double honors to the greatest and apostles. Thoudy Yahshua for the strength in order to make this video, and Yaratazar, that you also built up from this video, and you're strengthened in faith from this video as well. Because the Most High, Yahweh Yahushua hasn't given us the spirit of fear, He's given us the power to tread upon serpents, man, and scorpions. And we're going to get that precept. In fact, I might as well get it right now, but I'll probably get one more time again too, just to reiterate the point. All right, so that should be around here somewhere. Come on. All right, so it says, Luke 10:19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. And these serpents and scorpions really represent the adversary. Of course, serpent as well, if you go back to the book of Genesis chapter 3, that serpent of which was the most subtle animal, the most crafty animal, in a wicked way, in an evil way. That really represents these modern day Edomites, man. The wicked seed, as well as the scorpions too. So the adversaries, that's what they represent. And over all the power of the enemy, and adversary just means enemy as well. So, and nothing or something that's against you. An adversary is something that's opposing you, essentially. And nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding, in this rejoice that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. Which means we've been given the power from Yahushua. This is Yahushua speaking here. That's why it's in red letters. It says, notwithstanding in this, rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you, which means we are really masters over these spirits. We are masters over these demons. That's the thing. Because Yahushua has given us power over them to overcome them. He's given us Harachat Kodash to preach. He's given us Harachat Kodash as well to overcome these demons too. It says, and over all the power of the enemy, so back to verse 19, it says, power to tread upon serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy. And nothing, not spiritually, not physically, nothing shall by any means hurt you. And the reason why I said not spiritually, because spiritually you got demons, man, who try to have attacks. But we have Yahushua protecting us and preserving our minds. So anyways, I'm gonna reread this precept again. It's a bit early for it, but I wanted to just bring it out since I mentioned it. But yeah, this is the part 2 to the other video, which I named demons will plague people in these times. Of course, this is from the elder brother Ibar Yahawada. So if I recall correctly, I think Ibar means Hebrew, and Yahawada, of course, means Yahweh thanks. So giving thanks to Yahweh. Of course, I will cross-check that Yahweh Ratazar, and then the future video, and I can bring it out. All right, so let's continue with this.
Shaking, he's terrified. Man living in the Appalachian Mountains records a demonic figure in his doorway at 2 a.m. And you see him, he's like shaking, he's terrified. Okay, can you imagine seeing something like that standing in your doorway at 2 a.m.? Me personally, I just closed my door. But, that's terrifying. Okay, look at him, he's freaking out. Okay? And the worst thing that can happen, when this happens to you, the worst thing that can happen is you not know the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, and I always go into...
That's why in the previous video I brought out Proverbs 18 and 10. So I'll just bring it out quickly once more, because that's our defense line right there, man. The ultimate defense line we have is Yahweh and Yahushai. So it says, Proverbs 18 and 10, the name of the Lord Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous man runneth into it and is safe. The reason why is because the demons fear Yahweh wa Yahushai. And so when we say Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, they flee. When the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is within us, they flee anyways. That's why we're protected. That's why Job was also protected as well. But of course, part of the test was him really maintaining his integrity and his faith in Yahweh, in his time. So, yeah, man, key part, it says the name of the Lord Yahweh, which we say Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because this is Proverbs in the Old Testament, where it was mainly predominantly the name Yahweh, which really, if we were to read it, word for word, that Lord is supposed to say Yahweh, is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth into it and is safe. But remember, Yahushua has also given us power as well, as we read in Luke 10 and about verse 19, that's given us power to tread upon serpents. And all power is given unto him from Yahweh ultimately. So that's why we say Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, is really our stronghold, man. Our main line of defense. And speaking of defense, we could get this one out before, get back to the video. I might do a part 3 if it be so. It says here, O Israel, so Psalms 115 verse 9, O Israel, trust thou in the Lord Yahweh, he is their help and their shield. O house of Aaron, trust in the Lord Yahweh, he is their help and their shield. Ye that fear the Lord Yahweh, trust in the Lord Yahweh, he is their help and their shield, man. So of course, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is our help and our shield against physical enemies and against spiritual enemies as well, against these demons, man. And we have authority over them, as I will keep reiterating throughout this video, man. Because the point of the reiteration is to remind you of the power that Yahweh Yahushua has actually given us, man. We have to innately believe that. That's a fact. That's a fact that we have power to overcome these demons. We have power over these demons. And of course, soon enough, the Rak B'Shem Yahushua, in the kingdom, we're going to be commanding them anyways. They'll be ministering unto us. Now, hold on. Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to see. It should be in Corinthians. Should be in Corinthians. Should be in Corinthians, man. Wait, hold on. It's the one that says we will judge angels, man. Hold on. Okay, nevertheless, we use the power of other things. Alright, let me type this. If it works. Okay, yapa. So 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 3. Know ye not. Hold on. Alright, so it says wait. Alright, you know what? I was reading the verses about to see. The unjust are not before the saints. Alright, it's from verse 1, as the chapter is named, lawsuits discouraged. It says, dare any of you having a matter against another go to the Lord before the unjust and not before the saints? Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? No, because we've been ordained by our B'Shem Yahushua, and also we say Yaharatazah, that we do make it to the end to really be finalized as those judges of Israel, and of course not just Israel but of these other nations as well. That's why we say Yaharatazah, that we are those men, the elect men of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, aka the 144,000 mentioned in Revelation 14. So verse 3, know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? So of course it says no, don't you know that we will judge angels? That's essentially what he's saying, man. So let's let me get hold on, let's get this one. So that was a KJV that I read. Let's read the NLT. It says, don't you realize that someday we believers will judge the world? Yes, literally Israel being the world, and also not just Israel as well, but also the other nations too. And since you are going to judge the world, can't you decide even these little things among yourselves? So of course, even in, sometimes with tests as well, the Most High would give little things as a responsibility to see what you do before it then gives you a heap load. Again, that's why, what does it say in the scriptures, man? It says about, he would give us, I think it's the parable of the talents, really. Those of whom have been given little will then multiplied even more. The one who didn't do much with the little that he had, his portion was then given to the one who already had a lot. So, to each to their own, man. Like, we gotta learn that Yahweh Shem Yahshua has certain way to test us before he then blesses us even more. So this is what it's talking about. It says in NLT, in the terms of judgment, because we are judges. We are judges. That's why it says love wisdom, man. All ye that are judges of the earth. Let me try to get down quickly. Though I'm gonna get back to the video. Sometimes the presets just be flowing. Alright, so Wisdom of Solomon 1 verse 1. Love righteousness, ye that be judges of the earth. That's talking about us, the servants of Yahweh Yahushua. And we also say in humility, Yahweh Ratazah, which means Yahweh willing that we will be those men in the time to come, of whom will be crowned by Yahushua. As I said, Yahweh Ratazah, because it's all by the Most High's will. So ye that be judges of the earth, think of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua with a good heart, in simplicity of heart, seek him. So again, that's just reference to the judges, man. We will be judges of the earth. Again, as we always say, Yahweh Ratazah. So, getting back to the point. So yeah, it's all about, we gotta be able to judge small matters before we then be able to judge, the whole world, man. All right, so let's get this translation here in the NLT. So KJV says, know ye not that we shall judge angels, how much more things that pertain to this life? So NLT says, don't you realize that we will judge angels, so you should surely be able to resolve ordinary disputes in this life. There's a thing called, critical thinking, also decision making as well. There's many books on it too, where, it's just probably techniques that will aid a person to be able to make decisions, man. Hence why, King Solomon also prayed for wisdom. And if I recall correctly, in First Kings, I think it should be chapter 2 or chapter 3, when he was deciding. This was obviously after he prayed for the wisdom to the Most High. And a very, very prominent example of that wisdom was when the two women were essentially, they were arguing over whose baby was whose. One was willing to sacrifice the baby, then the other one was not willing to sacrifice the baby. No, the other one was willing to give the baby to the one that didn't even own it. So that's when Yahushua, which is Solomon in the past life, so that's when Yahushua, let me just keep it to King Solomon, but it's the same spirit, just different vessels. That's when Solomon then decided that, okay, give it to the one of whom was willing to give the baby to the other one. He didn't care. The other one just said, all right, just kill the baby. And then you already knew that, what's it called? You already knew that thing. Sometimes you get a mental block. But you already knew that the one who wanted the baby to die was not the true owner of the baby, man. All right, let's see. I don't want to get too deep into it if it is this. Yeah, so I'm going to read briefly. So 1 Kings 3, this is what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm going to definitely need to do a part 3 because this is how the spirit be rolling. So 1 Kings 3 and 16. Then came there 2 women that were harlots unto the king and stood before him, so King Solomon. And one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, roommates, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass that the 3rd day, so both of them gave birth, And it came to pass on the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. Again, both of them gave birth. Similar time. Same time, rather. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house, so no witnesses. And this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it. Yeah. Let me read that in the NLT, but she was careless. That's what I perceive. It says in the NLT, but her baby died during the night when she rolled. Oh yeah, when she rolled over it. So overlaid, as you see in the KJV, would mean rolled over it, man. Damn. I know. Imagine, man. The Most I had that happen so that it could be a show for Solomon's wisdom that he's put within Solomon, which is AKA Yahushua. Now, and this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it, rolled over it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me while thine handmaid slept. She'll talk about herself while she was sleeping. She took the one of whom her son died, she took the other woman's son and then laid it near her. So it says, and laid it in her bosom and laid her dead child in my bosom. What kind of a prank was that, man? Of course, I'm just joking around. It was no prank. It was really, it was a crafty action that was done there, man. An evil, one can say. So it says, and when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, breastfeeding, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I had bear, which I did bear. It's just funny, man, because you can just visualize it. Two so-called black women, in the same house, and then one of the black women of whom just rolled over her baby. And the baby died. You're switching the dead baby with the other woman of whom her baby's alive. And then flipping, you try to breastfeed the baby. And then you realize that the baby is dead, man. Anyways, it was all through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. It's all through the power of Yahweh. Yahweh had this all ordained so that Solomon's wisdom that he gave to him, that Yahweh gave to him, could be seen. So and other women, this account right here really can be a separate video, but I've already mentioned it. It says, and the other woman said, nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, no, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, Solomon, that the one saith, this is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other saith, nay, but thy son is dead, and my son is living. So of course it was just two women arguing essentially. So 24, and the king said, bring me a sword, and they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. Now that's a brutal decision right there, man. But of course, when desperation hits, decisions must be made. This was the reasoning that King Solomon had. Now it says, divide the living child into two, and give half to the one and half to the other. Verse 26. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. So of course, the evil one, the evil harlot, which we have already reiterated earlier on in the verses of this chapter, 1 Kings 3, the evil harlot wanted the baby to flip and die because her baby is already dead. But the real one, the real mother of that baby, said, just give her the living child. Now, verse 27, then the king answered and said, give her the living child and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. See? Now, this was the Most High. He gave this response because, Solomon prayed for the wisdom, as you can see in the earlier on in this verse, in this chapter. So it says in verse 20, and all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of the Most High was in him to do judgment. So the same way Solomon was given wisdom there, as I mentioned here, we ourselves are also judges too. So we would be given the wisdom from Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai to guide us when making these decisions, man. But anyways, I was speaking on the skill of critical thinking and decision making, man. Through the scriptures, with our reasoning, knowing these accounts, we will know how to move when it comes to judgment as well, fundamentally. There's also some other books as well, but fundamentally, our reasoning is based upon the scriptures with these accounts. And anything written aforetime is written for our learning. That's the scripture in itself. But anyways, let's get back to the video. Brought out quite a few precepts there. Went a little bit off topic, but it's all for the edification.
Always going to these lessons, saying that as we get closer to the end, these demons are going to manifest more and more. Okay, and they're going to plague you wicked people out there that have not sought Yahweh Bashim Yahushai or can't seek Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You're going to be given over to these demonic spirits. All right. Look at that. Okay, you just say it was just standing there watching, but you heard whispering. Okay, I heard whispering. It sounded like it was whispering to him.
Yeah, some kind of a mumble, man. If you wanna hold on. So 311. Let's all right. Let me rewind it back so that you brothers can see. If you didn't watch the part 1, you're gonna see some kind of a mumble, man. There's mumbling, whispering, just standing there stern, whilst the heathen shivers. Now, of course, we don't have to worry about this because, again, remember, our reasoning is within the scriptures and it ought to always remain there, of course. And again, Yahushua has given us the power over these demons. That's why they don't mess with us. They try to, but of course, we overcome them every time, Yaharatazah. Of course, it'd be a learning process. Let's say you're earlier on in this truth. Certain you might see certain things. I was even speaking on the account previously, but before I speak on it again, very quick summary of it. But let's rewind it. Then I'm gonna fast forward it to 3 minutes 11 seconds. The shivering was, of course, the fear that he had because he had no understanding of it. But of course, when we understand, the root or the weaknesses of the demon, which is really Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, of whom the demons will also fear us as well because we got the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai within us. Remember, Yahushai is the vine and we are the branches. That's why his harchak, the harchak Kodash he sent, gives us to be in sync with him. Therefore, they will also fear us as well because they fear Yahweh Yahushai, ultimately. But the reason why this heathen's shivering, because again, he ain't got the names Yahweh Yahushai, man. And no, if it be so that he is a heathen, then of course there ain't no chance, man. You can hear the whispering, as the brother Abba Yahweh said. You can hear the whispering, man, or the slight mumbling. So it's really inaudible stuff. But again, it's all through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that we don't really need to hear it anyways, man. But it's just for material that really it's a fear factor thing for these heathens too. So anyways. Imagine this thing was looking like it was wearing a Don Clark hat, man. Look at that thing. Be looking like flipping Scarecrow from Batman or something. But anyways, absurd things, man. People gonna be fearful in these times, especially these heathens. And even Jacob as well, the Israelites as well, who don't come back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Hence why we have to be grateful for knowing the names Yahweh Yahushua, and also the power he's given us to overcome them. Again, the power to tread upon serpents. Luke 10:19. Alright, let me get to 3 minutes 11 seconds. 3 minutes 11 seconds, man. Okay. Start from here.
Look at that. Okay, you say it was just standing there watching, but you heard whispering. Okay, I heard whispering. It sounded like it was whispering to him, And I've heard many stories about this. They call it the man in the black hat, or these different spirits that people be seeing, and they'll see a guy with a black hat. All right, just like that. All right, so that's terrifying. But that right there is why Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is to be feared, greatly to be feared, man. Because once the Lord got it out for you, there's nobody that can save you, okay? And if he didn't get it on camera, nobody would have believed him. But yeah, you've seen stuff like this happen all over, the world. People are getting plagued with spirits. All right, I got a few more videos I want to show concerning this, but let's bring the scripture back. This is Psalms chapter 66, verse 5. Come and see the works of the Most High. He is terrible in his doing toward the children of men. Yeah, the Lord is terrible. Okay, he is greatly to be feared. Allah Shagia, which when you go into it,
And by the way, it's Allah Shadia, because I know the caption spelled it wrong. Of course, YouTube don't know ancient Hebrew. But yeah, Allah Shadia, power almighty. In other words, demon-like power. Which demon really means intelligent. So of course, who's the most intelligent of them all? The Most High. He's the one who created the foundation of all the spirits anyways. So yeah, that is Yahweh is a power to be feared, man. Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Yahweh Wa Yahushua are powers to be feared severely. Now, let's continue.
It's like pretty much a horrible demon power, okay? The Most High, he controls the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Okay, so he controls the angels, but he also controls the demons. Okay,
He's a power of balance, man. He's a power of balance. The left hand and the right hand side. He kills, he makes alive.
And he will set it up where a demon will come and plague you. Okay, you see them all. You remember seeing those old Paranormal Activity movies? The motherfucker getting thrown across, thrown down the stairs, thrown across the room. And, those movies were, it was acting. But
another example of a show with that is Stranger Things, man, where you got demons possessing certain vessels, and also creatures of vengeance as well. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Stuff actually happens. Okay, you got people that wake up with bruises and bites on them and scratch marks. That's because them demons be whooping your ass in the middle of the night. Okay, and this is why we got to serve and fear Yahweh Wa Yahweh Shai, who you ignorantly call God and Jesus. You got to truly serve and fear the Lord, or the Lord give you over to this stuff. Let's let it play some more. It says, as you see, things just standing there. All right. Like I said, I got a few more clips I want to show, but let's read some comments. It says, now some of these are kind of funny. Somebody said, jump out of bed and sprint towards him full speed with your willy out and teach him who's the man of the house here.
Thing is, yeah, there's a time coming where the Most High is actually going to allow these demons to have a physical reaction to these people of the world, man. So let's say a person actually did that, or let's say in a more what's it called, in a more acceptable manner, let's say with clothes on, flipping run into the demon could just flipping put you down, man, and say like, hold up. That's when true fear will be felt. Now, of course, again, as I'll keep reiterating, we don't need to worry about this because we have Yahweh Yahushai. Remember, he's our help and our shield. So against these demons, they're weak. Demons are weak against Yahweh Shai. And to us, they're weak. They're weak against us because we are backed. We are fueled by Ruach Kodesh, the Holy Spirit, through Yahweh Yahushai, who provides us this. So then again, they flee, at our presence. And as they say, faith is the evidence of things not seen and the substance of things hoped for. So of course we have faith that we have power over them because we have Yahweh Yahushua with us. Hence why we shouldn't fear these things. Now, of course, in order to actually develop that, strong confidence, of course, think about the scriptures, man. Meditate upon it daily, whenever, because of course the flesh, you get the shivers sometimes. I'm not going to say that I'm all righteous and all, but, the point is, when you get the shivers sometimes, pray, meditate upon the precept, especially the ones that I'm bringing out in these videos, man. You have the power through Yahweh and Yahushua to overcome any demon, man. Any demon. Yahweh Tazar. Again, faith is the evidence of things not seen and the substance of things hoped for. So, of course, us having faith that we have power over the demons, and of course, that's backed by these scriptures, by the words of Yahushua, and of course, the words of Yahweh. Why then do we need to fear? All right, let's continue.
All right. So yeah, if people take this stuff for a joke, it says he's just standing there menacingly. All right. Reject any negative energy or spirits. It's from this video. Yeah. So they say these are all folly. These are some folly comments. So lucky for even bringing these up, but it showed you the spirit of these.
It's all shits and giggles until the demon actually goes to visit these commenters. But anyways, man, the time's coming.
Bro, okay, they're very simple. They're all, it's all a joke. It's all a game until it's you. All right? And you see him, he's shaking. The phone is shaking because he's afraid. All right? Let's go. And get another one. This is my story.
Yeah, this one's a mad one. This one's a mad one. People gonna fear, man, these times, man. But anyways, I said I'm gonna probably do a part 3. Don't want it to be too long. This one's probably gonna be quite a bit. But hold on, let's see something. Alright, let me get this one here. 2 Timothy. Oh, and also demons are really just angels in the left-hand side, by the way. There's left-hand side angels, aka demons, and you got right-hand side angels, which are simply just called angels, on the righteous side. Each playing according to the will of Yahweh. So let's get this here. Because I remember also Apostle Tahar, he's also made some videos in the past of what's it called? Oh yeah, sleep paralysis demons, man. I think he was having it one time, and then he looked up and they're just flipping demons, in the room, just floating around. So of course there's levels to this, man. There are flipping levels to this. And of course you rebuke them. All through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So what precept was I gonna get? Oh yeah, 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. Hold on, wait. Yeah, I was just reading into it. Man, his key part is really verse 7. So 2 Timothy 1 and verse 7, for the Most High hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, which means a healthy mind, man. Healthy and strong spirit, man. So he hasn't given us the spirit of fear. He's given us, he said power right there. Power right there, man. You know, he's given us a spirit of power and of love and of a sound mind. Let's read that in the NLT as well. So again, considering that it's given us, the Most High Yahweh has given us the power of that. Well, at least you just said it. Giving us the spirit of power. It means we also and we also link it to Luke 10:19, where Yahushua said that he's given us also the power of the power over the spirits. You know, that they are subject unto us. Which basically means we have power to overcome the demons. We have power to be really to have, again, to overcome the demons, man, to be masters over them, because literally in the kingdom we're going to be commanding them, you know, so each one according to the level of faith that Yahweh has instilled within them. So NLT says, for the Most High has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. You know, so as it says there, all through that discipline again is provided by Yahweh, and of course we say Bahashim Yahushai, man, because Yahushai again has given us the power to tread upon serpents, man. You know, as well as of course that the spirits are subject unto us too. But he said not to marvel on the fact that the spirits are subject unto us, but rather our names are written in heaven. Hence why we say also Yaharat Azar, that we do endure to the end, man, and maintain faith to the very end. You know, so let's see something. Yeah, NIV pretty much says the same thing. Okay, but yeah, mainly NLT and NIV. Let's see this. So AMP says, for the Most High did not give us a spirit of timidity or cowardice or fear, but he has given us a spirit of power and of love and of sound judgment and personal discipline, abilities that result in a calm, well-balanced mind and self-control. That's why, you know, when the elder brother, or the elder rather, I think Yawachanan, you know, he's in the UK as well. I think his channel name is Children of Israel. You know, he mentioned that the AMP is quite good too, man, at a certain point. You know, so yeah, as it says here, the Most High has not, he didn't give us a spirit of timidity, cowardice, or fear. So it means we shouldn't be operating at that level, that low level of being fearful, cowardice, or as a coward or timid, man. It says, but he has given us of power, love, and of a sound judgment and personal discipline, man, which it defines discipline as the abilities that result in a calm, well-balanced mind and self-control. And one thing about faith is that it also induces a calm state within your vessel. So, you know, the higher the faith, the calmer the person is. You know, the more balanced he is, the more so-called self-controlled he is. The reason why I say so-called self-control, because that's all through the power of Yahweh ultimately, because, you know, he controls all of us at the end of the day. But, you know, that self-control is there, that calmness, that balanced mind is there, you know, because of the spirit of power, of love, and of course, as it says here, sound judgment and personal discipline, man. So the AMP got it good, man. AMP got it good. Now, yeah, hold on. Okay, let's watch this one now.
This is my, all right, and you see him, he's shaking. The phone is shaking because he's afraid. All right, let's go.
He hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but he's given the heathens the spirit of fear. They may be joking around right now, but they will feel it soon, and they will feel it heavily. But for us, as they feel their fear, we will increase in power, in love for Yahweh Shem Yahushai, in our love for Yahweh Shem Yahushai, which is obviously shown by our servitude to them, and not just as well as faith, of course. You know, faith without works is vain, and the spirit of sound judgment that he's given us, as well as self-discipline as well, man. You know, a calm state, which again, faith induces that calmness. You know, so
let's get another one. This is my story on Instagram. I did this video. Maybe a few years ago. All right, but this is just another one. It says a mysterious humanoid figure was recorded chasing a car at high speed. Play some audio.
Bro, no, he's too fast, bro.
Plaguing them.
You see? So if you could see,
Most he's gonna plague these heathens, man, and Jake, man. That's why, better get your medicine strong, man. Medicine, in other words, you're praying, you're fasting, thinking about the scriptures. Look at that thing, man. I also mentioned a testimony in the last video about a demon of which had red eyes, man, in the dream. But of course, through the faith and power in Yahweh Shem Yahshai, it then disappeared after. So, the Most High is protecting us. Yahweh Yahushua is protecting us, man. So, always remember that. It is an innate belief. You have to see it as a fact. The scriptural reasoning, you have to see it as a fact, which is really the ultimate level of faith. The same way, your thirst is going to be quenched with water. If you drink water, okay, you won't feel that thirsty too much. Or, you won't feel thirsty enough. Or your thirst will be quenched. The same way you believe that as a fact, or the same way you believe there will be day and night, tomorrow, is the same way you got to believe in Yahweh Yahushai protecting you. Again, Psalms 115 and 9. The Lord Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai is our help and our shield. So, always remember that, man. Because fear is going to increase. The fear of Yahweh is going to increase ultimately.
the spirit world, you will see this all day long because you constantly got demons. We live in a very satanic world, so there's demons all around us that want to jump on you, that want to beat your ass, that want to make you sick. Anytime you have a negative thought, this is what I learned, prior to coming into the truth, man. Anytime you have a negative thought or, a spirit of doubt or anything like that come upon you, that's a spirit. A demonic spirit planted that thought inside your head. It's like the old cartoon shows where they have a demon on, the left shoulder and an angel on the right shoulder. And that's...
Yeah, man. I remember back in the UK, there was this show called Horrid Henry, man. That thing was so funny back in the day. Quite a show that I watched when I was very young, back in primary school. I think in America they call it junior school. But yeah, man, there used to be certain times in the show where, on the left side you got the demonic version of Horrid Henry. It was a cartoon show, by the way. It was you got the little demon floating on the left shoulder. You got the angel floating on the right shoulder as well. Which sometimes he would take heed to the left hand side demon, man. And then other times, very rarely, because again the show is called Horrid Henry. He would take heed to the angel side, man. But the point is, what the brother here, Ibar, the elder brother Ibar Yahweh is saying here, is that that concept they're shown in the cartoons or in shows, it's real. Demons are there, angels are there too. Now, of course, those of whom are given the names Yahweh Yahushai, they will reap the fruits thereof.
Well, we battle here in this flesh. Okay?
Look at that thing. That thing was, it was in a human form. I say human form. I might as well call it a humanoid figure. Yeah, a humanoid figure. It went into the distance, as though it was slowing down. But then all of a sudden, from a black figure, it just glowed up, man. With that red, demonic aura.
So that's one.
Hey, bro, man, global in China.
These are all videos.
Yeah, you got this one as well. Anyways, let's get a preset. I'm gonna close it out, do a part 3. I'm gonna chop it up here. Alright, Matthew, let's see. Anyways, before I read Matthew, let's read this one more time. And these are things you have to keep in your mind and believe, man. Again. So 2 Timothy 1 and 7. For the Most High Yahweh hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind, man. And we read it in the AMP, man. He hasn't given us the power of timidity, cowardice, or of fear. He's given us power. He's given us the spirit of power, the spirit of love, and the spirit of sound judgment, and of course, what was that last part again? Sound judgment, and it says of self-discipline, personal discipline, which of course faith induces that state of calm, well-balanced mind. So, despite getting any shivers, just meditate upon the precepts, then you'll be fine. Pray, and of course fast, man. Now, I said I was going to do a part 2. Don't want to make this too long. I'll probably link the video between this video here from the brother in the part 1 and in the part 2. Alright, so yeah. Well, let me get this one as well. Alright, because the disciples, when they were brought when a person brought a demon, well, a child of whom was possessed by a demon, the disciples couldn't cast out the demon, but there was a reason why. And it's what I've been reiterating in this video. That's why we gotta pray for more faith, to strengthen our faith, to get stronger in faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And really, the ultimate level of faith, one could even say, is to just know something's gonna happen without seeing any evidence whatsoever. You know it as though it's fact, but without seeing any evidence whatsoever. People in the world, they'll call it delusion, but we call it faith. But you have to use wisdom when you're applying that, because if you apply that type of faith in vanity, it's like, yeah, man, you're gonna reap the fruits thereof, innit? If you sow in corruption, you get corruption. If you sow in the spirit, you're gonna get life, man, as it says in Galatians 6. But anyways, let's focus on this. Matthew 17 and 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic, and sore vexed, for oftentimes he falleth into the fire and often into the water. So, of course, he had demons on him, man. He had demons on him. Let me just see this. He had demons on him. Yeah, so NLC, it says, the Lord have mercy on my son. He has seizures and suffers terribly. He often falls into the fire or into the water. We can say spiritually, man, where, he's good, like, he's sane, one could say, and then sometimes the demon takes over and flipping troubles his vessel, fire and water. So verse 16, and I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. So again, they took a man went to Yahushua and told him that, your disciples couldn't cast out the demon, man. And Yahushua is going to explain why they couldn't do it. So then Yahushua answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Which means to allow you. Bring him hither to me. So, Yahushua saying, oh my days, man. Translated into the modern day slang, UK slang. Why are you guys faithless and perverse, man? Why is this generation faithless and perverse? Which all these gives you an indication to what they were missing. But again, it was a learning process, and it's also a learning procedure for us too. That's why it was written for us to learn from. So Yahushua said, in the NLT right here, Yahushua said, you faithless and corrupt people, how long must I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me. So that's what he was saying there, man. And Yahushua rebuked the devil, the adversary, the demon, and he departed out of him. And the child was cured from that very hour. So yeah, he rebuked the devil, man. Let's see what that one says as well. Hold on, what's going on here? Sometimes it glitches out, man. But yeah, I'm gonna close it out soon, but hold on, wait. Sometimes this thing just freezes up. I'm trying to get the NLT and it just freezes up. Okay, Matthew 17 and 18. Let's try to get it here. Matthew 17 and 18. And Yahushua rebuked the devil. Oh yeah, NLT. So NLT, Yeah, NLT says here, then Yahushua rebuked the demon in the boy and it left him. From that moment the boy was well. So yeah, from that moment that boy was well, man. Alright, verse 19. It says here, hold on. Yeah, verse 19, Matthew 17 and 19. Then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could not we cast him out? So they asked Yahushua, why couldn't we rebuke the demon? Why couldn't we, basically take off the demon from the boy? And verse 20 is Yahushua's response. Matthew 17 and 20, and Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have a faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. So, of course, fundamentally, you have to have the belief, which again, the belief is that having that repeated faith. It's an innate fact, in other words, that you know within yourself. So that means basically the disciples didn't believe that they could, they didn't wholly believe, WHOLLY, which means holistically. They didn't wholly believe that they could cast out the demon. Now, Yahushua did tell them, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, so even if you had a little bit of faith, an inkling of confidence, which means with faith in Yahweh Yahushua, to be able to cast out the demon, you would be able to do it. That's the point. So that's the level of mindset. That's what we ought to learn from this this account here from Yahushua. In order to rebuke the devil, man. Through the Spirit, it says the wiles of the devil. From the elder Yashawamba. And that's the thing, man. We have to have a strong defense against them, and that's through our faith, our belief in Yahweh and Yahushua. So let me get this. Hold on. Let's see the NLT, right? See the NLT here, or even NIV. Right, NIV says, he replied, because you have so little faith. So that was the reason why they couldn't cast out the demon. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. And that's all through the power of Yahweh Yahushua that He's given us. He gave the apostles that power. He's given us, of whom we are His servants, that power as well. And we have faith in Him. So, hold on. I want to get the AMP, because the AMP is quite strong as well, man. In fact, I'll read NLT, then I'm going to read AMP. So NLT, it says here, you don't have enough faith. Yahushua told them, I tell you the truth, if you had faith, even as small as a mustard seed, and it says you could say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it would move. Nothing would be impossible. And doesn't the scripture say nothing is impossible for the Most High? See, because He is our power source, man. Remember, He gave us the spirit of power. And we have to remember this. Even me, myself, I got to remember this as well, because sometimes, you may be low in the spirit, but you always have to meditate upon the precept to keep you strong and high in the spirit as well. As people may say, high vibration. Yeah, that's true. You can be high vibration. You can be high in the spirit, but that's through the scriptures. It's how you get high in the spirit. That's what matters here, which is through the scriptures, the prayer, the fasting, and the thinking upon the scriptures. So AMP, it says here, he answered, because because of your little faith, in brackets it says your lack of trust and confidence in the power of the Most High Yahweh. That's deep right there, man. Little faith, it says your lack of trust and confidence and power. Because remember, we've been given the power. We've been given the power from the Most High. So why then should we diminish in trust and diminish in confidence? Now, of course, the Most High has his ways of testing us individually. And that's why we have to pray. And of course, for the strength to overcome our individual tests, all leading up to that ultimate test of the mark of the beast, which would be the ultimate pass or fail exam. That's going to be the true examination. Not a test, it's going to be an examination. It's like, okay, if you fail that one, good game. GG, as the gamers say, man. As the gamers say, good game. But anyways, the point is, it says, because of your little faith, your lack of trust and confidence in the power of the Most High. Because we know I've read many scriptures, man. You know, Luke 10, verse 19 to 20, the power that Yahushua has given us over the spirits. That's one. You know, 2 Timothy 1 and 7, the spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. You know, self-discipline. You know, not a spirit of timidity, fear, or cowardice, but a spirit of power, love, sound judgment, and of course, personal discipline, as we read in the AMP version of 2 Timothy 1 and verse 7. Now, continue on. It says, for I assure you, and most solemnly, which means seriously, say to you, if you have living faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, which the mountain also represents rulerships in other contexts of scriptures too, such as Jeremiah 51 and verse 25. That rulership is talking about America. That destroying mountains talking about America. But anyways, you know, that, so it can be seen metaphorically as well. And also in terms of spiritual power, quite literally, it would be so. So it says, move from here to there, and if it is the Most High's will, it will move. You see, that's why the AMP is called, man. Because that's why we say Yahweh Ratazah. If it is the Most High's will, it will move. And nothing will be impossible for you. And of course, remember, that's all according to the trust and our confidence in the power of Yahweh that he provides us, that he supplies to us, man. You know, so we all got to learn from that scripture right there, man. You know, Matthew 17 and 20. You know, and it says in Matthew 17 and 21, howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. So certain demons, you know, because of the level that they're on, they require prayer and fasting. You know, but again, nothing is impossible to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So fundamentally, you gotta have that belief, that faith, that trust, that confidence in the power that Yahweh has given you, that Yahweh and Yahushua has given you. All right, let's read this one. I'm gonna just go straight to the AMP, man. So it says AMP, so Matthew 17 and verse 21. As I said, some demons require prayer and fasting, man. So, but this kind of demon does not go out except by prayer and fasting. So, you know, Yahushua, we already know, through the Spirit, is 1240 here. This is why I say it's through the Spirit, because, you know, remember, he fasted for 40 days, you know, and he was tempted of Satan. So if that type of spirit of him fasted 40 days, you know he's going to be, Yahushua was on a level. Of course, that's why he's the King of Kings and the Lord of all lords, man. The servant's not greater than the master. You know, he fasted 40 days, man. And of course, he would be in an authoritative position to also cast out that demon as well. Because, you know, he was always in prayer. He was always fasting, man. So again, hence why it makes sense. The demons feared him. You know, the demons feared him. But yeah, man, I'm going to continue on with this video here in the part 3, Yaratazar. And, you know, hopefully this has been edifying to you. But yeah, all right. So Shalom, Yabashim Brakatha, and Yaratazar, do the part 3 too. So do the part 3. All right. Shalom, Yabashim Brakatha.